Good day, you wonderful people. Welcome to the Voice of Reason with me, Address, and we are back with another segment of Yaxley-Lennon Vs Jamal. Let's go. Okay, now here we are back with the court case. We are now looking at section I. We're going to go to number 6, the threat to Bailey McLaren, paragraphs 129 to 148. This is going to be for some very interesting reading for even the Tommy Robinson fans, because you will not believe what this kid says. Okay, so paragraph 129. The defendant, Stephen's case that the imputation to is substantially true relies upon an allegation that the claimant, Jamal, threatened to stab Bailey McLaren on the 25th of October 2018. Paragraph 130. In his original defence, settled by leading counsel, the defendant, Stephen, stated, verified by a statement of truth, the claimant, Jamal, had been in a lesson with Bailey McLaren. He dragged Bailey McLaren's coat across the floor of the classroom. When Bailey told him to stop, he replied with the words to the effect, wait until lunchtime, you're going to get stabbed. Next paragraph. On the same day, whilst he was eating lunch, one of the claimant's friends approached Bailey and told him that the claimant was going to stab him. The incident, shown in the viral video, occurred as a direct result of Bailey confronting the claimant about the claimant's threat to stab him, hence Bailey's opening words, what are you saying now? Paragraph 131. No amendments were made to those paragraphs in the defendant's amended defence. Stephen amended his defence. In response to a request for further information dated 9th of August 2019, the defendant stated that the identity of the claimant's friend referred to in paragraph 710 was presently unknown. It was said that further details would be provided in the defendant's witness evidence. 132. Witness statements were subsequently exchanged, but Bailey McLaren's statement did not identify the unknown friend. In his witness statement, Bailey said this about the alleged threat by the claimant to stab him and how it had thereafter led to the playing field incident. Quote, on the day of the playing field incident, we had science class with named teacher and there was an altercation. Somehow Jamal's coat ended up on the floor by my feet. If I put my foot on it, I didn't know, but I said sorry to him, to which he told me to fuck off. I challenged him to say it again and he said, fuck off, you white bastard. I reacted and grabbed him, which I wasn't proud of, but I wasn't going to take being called that. He said something in his own language, and after what I was told shortly afterwards, I wondered if he said the English word stab. I couldn't be sure. I was sent out of class and put on call, as the school says. I was in the dining room when an Asian lad approached me, and he was fine. He said Jamal had been mocking my stutter, which I've had problems with people making fun of, and he asked, do you know what Jamal said? Jamal's going to stab you. And I was thinking it must be a lead on from what happened in the classroom. I wasn't having someone say that. I'm not the kind of person to sit back and let that be said. After that, I kind of lost my head. I jumped up straight away and had a bottle of water with me from my lunch. I had my bag on already and went outside to confront him. End quote. Paragraph 133. Prior to the trial on the 15th of April 2021, the defendant, Stephen, applied for permission to re-amend his defence. To rewrite it. Paragraph 710 remained unchanged, but he was granted permission to amend paragraph 79 as follows, using the conventional striking out and underlining indicated in the changes. Quote, the claimant had been in a lesson with Bailey McLaren. The bit that's been taken away is, he dragged Bailey's coat across the floor to the classroom, Bailey told him to stop, he replied to the words to the effect. So what's been added instead is, there was a disagreement between the two boys in which the claimant's coat was on the floor and insults were exchanged. Bailey McLaren grabbed the claimant but then left the classroom. End quote. Paragraph 134. The amendments sought, at least in part, to bring the statement of case into line with Bailey McLaren's witness statement that had been served by the defendant, Stephen. So he changed his statement to fit in line with Bailey's statement that just coincidentally was being said that day. Paragraph 135. At trial, Bailey was asked some additional questions in examination in chief. The defendant asked Bailey about his school record. Bailey said that he had had an appalling disciplinary record and that he wasn't an angel. He said that the occasions on which he had been physically aggressive to other children had been instances in which he had been provoked, and that there would have been a strong reason for his actions. Quite properly, in fairness to Bailey, the defendant, Stephen, took him to several very positive entries in his disciplinary record, which I have already noted. See paragraph 20 above. Paragraph 136. Bailey's school record disclosed that the school had concerns about his support for the English Defence League. The defendant asked him about this, and Bailey replied that when he was at school, he just knew the EDL as a group that had tackled grooming gangs in his town. He denied being racist or being a bully. He said that he had mixed-race sisters, lived in a mixed-race community, and had friends who were black and Asian. He said for him, colour did not matter and that it was more important what a person was like. Paragraph 137. Without objection, the defendant asked Bailey to read the incident report that he had completed about events on October 25, 2018. See paragraph 11. As to the claim in the incident report that the claimant had threatened to stab him, he said that the claimant had muttered something in the classroom, but he didn't think much of it. Subsequently, he was approached by the person he described as an Asian lad, who he named as Ahmed. He claimed that upon being told by Ahmed that the claimant had said that he was going to stab him, he thought that's what he must have said in the classroom to him. Paragraph 138. Questioned by Miss Evans QC, Bailey said that he had written his witness statement himself, but had received help from Mr. Lockwood, the defendant, Stephen, the defendant's Mackenzie friend. He accepted that he had a very poor disciplinary record at the school, and he said that this was because he had a troubled time and he was prone to being hot-headed. He said by the end of year 11, he was looking to do his GCSEs, and he had changed his ways in school. He denied being a bully, and he denied targeting the claimant. 139. Miss Evans QC asked Bailey how he had been able to recall the name of Ahmed in the witness box. His answers were unconvincing. He said that he had pieced it together after he had written his witness statement. Miss Evans then showed Bailey an incident report from 18th of January 2017, which recorded, quote, Bailey McLaren then came up to Ahmed and punched him in the face, got him in the headlock and head-busted him in the head 3 times. He also kneed him in the stomach. Then Bailey McLaren went outside, came face-to-face with Redacted, told him to fuck off, you curly-head bastard, and threatened to punch him. He also told Redacted to fuck off too. Bailey replied that he could not recall this incident, but then added, why would Ahmed then come up to me about Jamal? Bailey clearly thought that this was a point that undermined the veracity of the incident report. In my view, it served to undermine the credibility of his claim to have recalled or pieced together that it had been Ahmed that had allegedly approached him to inform Bailey of claimant's alleged threat to stab him. Paragraph 140. As a part of her cross-examination, Miss Evans QC asked Bailey to look at the incident report completed by the teacher in relation to the incident in the science lesson on October 25th, 2018. See paragraph 11 above. Before Miss Evans could actually ask Bailey any questions about the document, he immediately made the point about the different handwriting in the document. That answer clearly demonstrated that at the very least someone had discussed the incident report with him and in sufficient detail for him to appreciate the point about the different handwriting. That was unfortunate. The effect was to undermine Bailey's credibility by giving the impression that his evidence had been influenced by some other person's. I am not suggesting that there has been any effort deliberately to influence his evidence, but if it appears that a witness has discussed aspects of his or her evidence with someone else, it risks damaging the credibility of the witness because it calls into question the extent to which the court can rely upon the evidence as being the witness's own evidence rather than something that she has picked up from discussions with other people. 141. There was another unsatisfactory part of Bailey's witness statement in one paragraph about the Plainford incident. Bailey claimed, quote, I understand Jamal claimed that I punched him 5 times to the head, but I never hit him. You can see that on the film. He suffered no physical damage. End quote. Paragraph 142. It was no part of the claimant's case or his evidence that he had been punched in the head 5 times by Bailey during the Plainford incident. However, including the trial documents, there is an undated incident report which includes the following, quote, at lunchtime, Bailey started chasing me around. He then threw a full water bottle at my head and then tripped me up and punched me in the face about 5 times. And about 10 minutes later, he was punching me in my broken knuckles and that he was kneeing me. End quote. 143. The defendant, Stephen, cross-examined the claimant on this document, suggesting to him that he had completed this incident report and that it was an account that he had given about the Plainfield incident. Stevens claiming that Jamal wrote that report. The claimant answered by stating that document was not in his handwriting and that he had not written it. I accept the claimant's evidence, not least because there are examples of the claimant's handwriting in other documents and they are clearly not the same. This reflects poorly, again, on the circumstances in which Bailey's witness statement was prepared. It looks like someone on the defendant's side had concluded that the undated, unattributed incident report was completed by the claimant and referred to the Plainfield incident. That conclusion was mistaken, but it appears to have been fed into Bailey's witness statement. 144. Bailey's credibility was also damaged by his answers to questions he gave in response to a document completed by the school on the 28th of November 2018, making a referral under the Prevent program because of references he had made to the EDL. The document, which was redacted, recorded, quote, "He has referred to the EDL and redacted in conversations with staff." Bailey referred to redacted on the 18th of October 2018, asking staff if they'd heard of him. Miss Evans QC put it to Bailey that the name that had been redacted from the document was the defendant's. Bailey gave evasive answers, including, "I wouldn't like to say." Whether the redacted name in the document was the defendant's is not really the point. The point is that Bailey would have known the name. His evasive answer rather tends to confirm that it was the defendant's name, but his answer is more important in terms of Bailey's credibility. Upon further questioning, he confirmed after the media fallout from the viral video, a member of his family had contacted the defendant, Stephen, and he had been interviewed by him. Bailey added that he had lived with him for about 4 months. He clarified later that the defendant, Stephen, had put him up in a safe house that he owned and that he also spent time with him. That wasn't in silenced, was it, Tommy? 145. Overall, Bailey's evidence about this supposed threat by the claimant to stab him is not credible. In the original defence, the defendant claimed that the threat was made by the claimant clearly and directly to Bailey as part of the incident in the science class. That was not correct. It has never been Bailey's evidence, and there is no support for it in the incident report completed by the teacher contemporaneously with the events. See paragraph 11 above. Bailey's account in his original incident report was that it was only later that he got told that the claimant said he was going to stab him when he saw him. In his witness statement, Bailey adopted the same evidence, albeit with an attempt to weave in a suggestion of something said by the claimant in his own language. A striking phrase that also appeared in Charlie Matthews' statement that might have been a threat to stab him. The last part of Bailey's evidence has simply been manufactured as an effort to connect the alleged threat more directly to the claimant. It was denied by the claimant when he was cross-examined, and I reject it. 146. That leaves the defendant with the hearsay evidence. The belatedly identified Ahmed as the only evidence capable of demonstrating that the claimant had made a threat to stab Bailey as a piece of hearsay. I can attach little to or no weight to it. Ahmed has not been called to give evidence. The court does not even have his full name. His evidence has not been tested. As Bailey accepted when he was giving evidence, even if his evidence of what Ahmed is alleged to have said to him is accepted, he does not know whether Ahmed was telling the truth and that this supposed threat by the claimant. I have no idea who he is or whether he would have any motive to lie. 147. On balance, I consider that the claim to have been told that the claimant had threatened to stab him by Ahmed or anyone else was manufactured by Bailey. He first gave this lie in the account he gave in the incident report as an effort to try and excuse his attack on the claimant. If Bailey needed a reason to attack the claimant in the Plainfield incident beyond providing another opportunity to bully him, it was because the claimant had told him to fuck off in the incident over the coat in the science lesson, as the other reports tended to confirm. See paragraph 14 above. By the stage of giving his account in the incident report, Bailey was already aware that the school had the viral video as evidence of the Plainfield incident. He could not deny it, so he set about trying to explain and mitigate it. I conclude that he has given evidence in this trial and persisted in the lie about the claimant threatening to stab him, at least partly because he feels indebted to the defendant for the help he has given him and because he wants to try and assist him in return. Unlike Charlie Matthews and OTP, I can identify a reason why Bailey has been willing to lie in the evidence he has given. Paragraph 148. For these reasons, the defendant, Stephen, has failed to prove the substantial truth of imputation 2. In consequence, the defendant's truth defence must be rejected and a judgment on the claim will be granted to the claimant. So, let me get this right. Stephen had been contacted by a member of Bailey's family Stephen interviewed that person and then put them in a safe house which Stephen owned for 4 months, and interviewed him and evidently also fed Bailey's witness statement himself. Imagine that. Imagine finding that out. No wonder Stephen is saying the courts are corrupt. No wonder he doesn't want his followers knowing anything about this case. Oh dear. Oh dear, Stephen. That's really bad. That's really bad. So you were basically attacking a kid with zero ground to do so, and then you also tried to manipulate the system by using another child to say the things that you wanted him to say, to get you out of trouble for something that you did. Oh. Wow. Oh dear, how the cookie crumbles, Stephen. Now, I'm fully still not expecting his followers to fully see this and sit here and somehow say that it's fake, it's fraudulent, it's corruption, it's this, it's that. But the funny thing about it all is, much like Stephen's silence video, which didn't tell you in there, did he, that he put up this kid and a family member in a safe house for 4 months? Didn't tell you that in the silenced film. Why? Why is that? Wonder what else he didn't tell you in the silenced film. Makes you also wonder what he said in that film, which is actually any kind of truth. You can hear my dog. This is exactly what she thinks of that film. See? Even my puppy thinks it's full of... Exactly. Now, what a world. What a way, eh? Well, Stephen, we'll be back for another section of it tomorrow.